Earlier, you pleaded guilty to the third-degree felony of deadly conduct, discharging a firearm, and a pre-sentence report has been prepared and the parties had an opportunity to review it. Any corrections or changes to it?
No, sir.
It's made a part of the record for all purposes. And this agreement was whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 5 years in prison. It's a third-degree felony. We're looking at no less than 2 nor more than 5 years confinement in prison. Also, deferred or unadjudicated probation can also be in the ballpark as a potential disposition, and regular probation, I don't believe is available, is it?
No.
Not when you discharge a firearm, right? Okay, go ahead. Defense can go
Well,
first.
Judge, he is asking for adjudication. This young man is 18 years of age. He has no adult history. He does have significant juvenile history.
Why is that?
As reported in the PSI. You know, when you're young, you do pretty stupid things.
I was young.
Most of these,
I remember that, but I was never arrested.
most of these arrests as a juvenile were dismissals, if the court will look at that. But again, back to the case.
How many were not?
I can count them if
2.
you like.
Looks like,
2, I believe.
although
Maybe 3.
maybe 3.
Yes, sir.
And those were illegal possession of controlled substance. Then he's put on 6 months deferred on July of 2020. And less than 4 months later, he's charged with he commits unauthorized use of a motor vehicle while he was on deferred probation, and then placed delinquent court probation. And then another unauthorized use of a motor vehicle on October 2022. He's sentenced to 1 year adjudicated probation for that. That's what I'm looking at.
Yes.
So 3 separate events. He didn't learn his lesson. So we have, is there still a pending failure to identify as a fugitive?
It's what the PSI shows, Judge. I'm not certain on that.
I think that may have been the arrest on this case. Not to arrest him on this charge. Looks like it's a couple of weeks after this event. No, I'm sorry. I'm a year off. Sorry. Still may have been then.
I don't have the benefit of my computer to confirm that, Judge.
Regardless, the misdemeanor is still pending.
Okay, anything else in the pre-sentence report? That is an issue.
No.
Okay,
I just need to.
Then the pre-sentence report is made a part of the record for all purposes. Go ahead.
Well, the offenses that you just discussed as a juvenile, I'd point out he was like 13 years of age on those first 2, and then the last one was a couple of years later. So he was awfully young then. And to his credit, I mean, he did obviously successfully complete the probation even as a juvenile. But back to the case in point, I've discussed with him, and he recognizes it's extremely dangerous to have a firearm, and especially be shooting it from any direction at anybody. He regrets that this happened. He wished that it hadn't. He feels like he's learned his lesson. That he's been in jail now for a while. He certainly feels like he could successfully complete adult probation because he did it as a juvenile. He's only got an 8th grade education. He'd like to be placed on deferred, get him a job, and participate in completing the GED, and maybe make something a whole lot better with his life. And that's what we're asking the court to do, is give him deferred education, give him an opportunity.
All right, State, what would you like to add?
I'd like to start first with some comments about his juvenile history. There are 5 cases that the juvenile system dealt with. One he was given probation for, Your Honor noted, was possession of controlled substance. That was dismissed in 22. He was given another for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and what was added to that probation was 2 additional charges. That's what the phrase "add to analysis." They were added to his probation. That would be the unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and carrying weapons. One of those, he was given a year of probation, and that started on 11/3/22. He turned 17 in October of 23, and you'll note, Your Honor, that his probation was dismissed on January 8th of 2024. That is the same time frame in which an aggravated assault, a probation violation, and expulsion were all dismissed. So the way I read that is that they determined that they were done with him because he had become an adult. And unfortunately, this man decided that committing the offense of deadly conduct would be a really good thing to do. So when you read the police court version, we learned that he not only shot at his ex-girlfriend on April 26th, but he returned to do it again on April 27th, which resulted in his use of an AK-47, where 5 shots were laid down at an apartment complex there at, I believe it's the Parkway Apartments, striking 3 different apartment buildings, resulting in us only filing 1 case. We could have had 2 cases from 2 different dates. We could have had potentially 3 cases from the date of April 27th. And I know Your Honor is astute enough to know that the level of violence here does warrant what the state offered in this regard. We're just lucky we're not dealing with murders. I appreciate that they're asking for deferred adjudication, but I don't think it takes into account the level of violence and the amount of loss that could have occurred here. I stand by the offer that was made here at capping this item at 5 years. And because of the level of violence, I'm asking for a sentence of 5 years TDC.
All right, did you want to say anything? You don't want to say anything?
Did I successfully tell the judge what you and I discussed, that you felt like that you could make probation? Yes, sir. You regret this incident?
I'm looking at this pre-sentence report that's made a part of the record, and without objection. And we don't have the defendant's version. He declined to say anything, just as he's doing today, which is all right. Your actions certainly speak a lot louder than maybe your words could. But for the record, this is a situation, a set of circumstances that every one of the people who are decent people in Beaumont have a hard time trying to explain away because of bizarre, lawless behavior that is only anyone can state is likely to cause numerous deaths and injuries. And here, the defendant is seen leaning out of a window, shooting an AK-47, an assault rifle, which what America uses in times of war. toward an apartment complex, shooting toward an apartment complex where, of course, numerous people are located. 3 small children were playing outside in the area where the shots were fired. Several 7.62 shell casings that are used in AK-47s were located and collected at the scene. And it's interesting that here, you're not going to say anything, but according to the police report, the pre-sentence report, the one of the victims, one of the people who were being shot at, was your ex-girlfriend, and she told the police you called her making threats while showing her a gun that you were holding. Police retrieved text messages that were received from her, sent by you, stating vulgarity, F you, apartment, you should have died, bitch. And you can't even spell words correctly, which is another reason that shows that you're not using wise thoughts or intelligence in your actions nor speech. You go on to state, or I go to yo apartment. And then witnesses saw that the person shooting was wearing a ski mask, and that turned out to be you. You don't even have the courage. You try to hide your identity when you're acting in a way that could have killed children. The foolishness doesn't end here, and the police in their investigation concluded that you were the person who was shooting at an apartment complex with an assault rifle where children were located. And when they were able to find that several areas of the building were struck by gunfire, and windows in at least 2 apartments were damaged because of the gunfire. And as the state points out, you have been handled as a juvenile not once, not twice, 3 times before this incident. But the point is everybody makes mistakes, but you fix the mistakes. You don't. You just get worse. You go from illegal possession of a controlled substance to unauthorized use of a motor vehicle to another unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, which is the second most valuable item most people own next to their home. And stealing from misusing that kind of property is serious. And then here, shooting assault rifles at multifamily apartment complex locations where children are playing. Of course, if you'd have shot and killed somebody, a child, that's capital murder. Where you have life without parole or the death penalty. Those are the only two options. But in all of this, it just seems from what I'm looking at here is that you really don't seem to care about what happened. You don't care about others. You just, I'm looking at what achievements you have, and I think, did you complete 8th grade? Did you ever get past 8th grade?
Yes,
You did? This says you only completed 8th grade. Is that right?
yes, sir.
Okay. You're unemployed. have no other employment. Your mother resides in Beaumont, Texas. You have a father. We all have fathers, but you don't even know where he is, right? And you've had no relationship with him. Well, that explains a lot.
We talk island.
Sir,
We talk on island.
what impact did he make on your life?
You're not doing much for him now.
He's not doing much. What does he do for a living?
I-
You don't even know? No. Parents are important. They're supposed, they provide the role modeling. Is your mother a nice lady?
Yes, sir.
Why would you do something like this? You got somebody who cares for you. If your father doesn't, well, your mom at least doesn't, you don't want to disappoint her. I wouldn't want to disappoint my mother. But this is serious. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you can't shoot the town up with assault rifles and be shooting at children. That's terrible. God. I mean, yeah, you were 18. No, you weren't. You were 17 when this happened, right? Yeah. What are you asking for, Don?
Deferred. Give him a shot.
No puns intended.
There wasn't, well, what example am I going to state by doing that? You can shoot up the town, you can shoot at kids, and only God's will saves children from being killed in this town. You shoot at multifamily dwellings, and then you can just scamper out of here with a probation as though. And you hadn't even said anything. You don't have anything to say. That's what it says. You don't have anything to say. There's not even any remorse at all shown. And I'm not opening that door. I mean, people, if probation is under the law, but it's a gift that has to be earned, that opportunity, and nothing has been shown that is worthy.
Yeah, the only thought that I've got in that regard is this. You sentence him to prison. He's in custody now. He goes to prison. He gets out. He's had no guidance to do anything to improve his life. At least with probation, he's going to be under some supervision where maybe, just maybe, the kid can get an education. Maybe he can.
Can you tell me a situation where you would believe that probation would not be proper under circumstances like this?
You know, I get it.
Yeah, I can't envision one under this.
The nature of the offense.
The threat to people were so serious, and little children. We could have had 3 or 4 dead children here. It wouldn't because of him. It was because of God's will.
Yeah, there's no question about that. It's just what is appropriate here. It's
Yeah.
going to maybe straighten out his life.
How important are the lives of our children in Beaumont? And what does it say when we're talking about an assault rifle that's used at a time of war by our country? That's when they use it. AK-47s. My goodness. You don't use it in Beaumont, Texas, and not pay a price. Oh, anything else?
No, sir.
If nothing further, I'm going to find you have pleaded guilty voluntarily. You are mentally competent to do so. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading guilty. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 admitted in your case in this hearing to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this 3rd-degree felony of deadly conduct. And the legislature wisely gave that title to this type of conduct because it is a most deadly form of act. You were found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I am following this agreement. You were hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 5 years. The safety of our children are foremost to all of us, except you. You don't seem to buy into that important rule of decency, and you pay the price. That is all.
Are you making a finding?
Well, I don't have to make a finding.
You don't,
Deadly
and that's why I'm
conduct,
asking.
the elements of the crime show that a deadly weapon was used in the commission of the crime.
So there is an affirmative finding?
Yes, because I found it guilty of the elements of the crime.
Thank you, Judge.
It's inherent in,
Thank you, Your Honor.
and you can't commit that crime without brandishing and using a weapon.
May I approach, Your Honor?